Chapter number 3, Motion in a Straight Line, and today's our topic is free fall. So first of all, let us see what is free fall and then write the equations of the uniformly accelerated motion for object falling freely, right? So basically fall, that means when you throw an object, right, we know that the object will practically come towards the surface of the earth, right? The object will be pulled towards the earth's surface, that is due to the gravitation. So here, what is the gravitational acceleration? The acceleration produced in the object due to gravitational force is called gravitational acceleration. That means every object is pulled to another object due to the gravitational force. And as we know that the mass of the object, that is the earth's mass, it is very heavier, right? So it will be pulling the other object, because compared to the mass of the earth, the other object will be having the negligible mass. So it is always the other object that will be attracted towards the earth's surface, right? So when the object is thrown, it will come down to the surface of the earth due to the gravity. So this acceleration is in downward direction. If the air resistance is neglected, then this type of falling of object is said to be free fall, right? As we know that whenever there is something, right, that is going on its way, and if something obstacle is there, right, if some obstacle comes in between, then what happens? There will be an obstacle to the path, right, motion of that path. So here the air resistance, that is the air particles, if it is there, right, then that air particles will be behaving as the obstacle for the object, right, that is in motion. So if these air resistance is neglected, if there are no air particles to obstacle the object, then that type of fall of the object is called it to be free fall. So if the air resistance is neglected, then this type of falling of object is said to be free fall. Here acceleration is considered as negative gravitational acceleration, because we know that the acceleration due to gravity, that is in downward direction, right? So if we see the case of the y-axis, right, then above the origin the y-axis will be considered as positive, right, and below the origin the y-axis is considered to be negative, right? So when the object is falling in downward direction, we consider it as going in the negative direction, that is the negative y-axis. So the gravitational acceleration, because it is in downward direction, it is considered to be negative, and this is also an uniformly accelerated motion. So by putting V0 is equals to 0, A equals to minus G, because the gravitational acceleration is in downward direction and we know that it is in negative direction, so we consider it as the minus G. D is equals to minus H. In the kinematic equation, we can derive this equation for free fall. So already we have discussed about the three kinematics equation, right, that is relating the initial velocity, final velocity, acceleration, displacement and time, right? So the kinematic equation V equals to V0 plus AT. Let us take the first kinematic equation and substitute the same equation with the help of this terms, that is V0 equals to 0, A equals to minus G, D equals to minus H. So taking V0 equals to 0, right, that is the initial velocity is considered as 0. Why it is considered as 0? Because when we throw the object, right, it is falling freely. So initially it is at rest, so the motion is not there, and that is why its velocity is 0, because the object is at rest. So initial velocity is considered as 0. And final velocity, here we are considering it as V. So V equals to 0. Instead of A, here we are taking minus G and T remains as it is. So V equals to minus GT. Now the second equation, that is D equals to V0T plus half AT square, that is in some reference books you may see it as X is equals to V0T plus half AT square. That means distance or displacement that can be denoted by X or D. So instead of D we are writing minus H, right, because here we are talking about the falling of the object along y axis, and it is falling freely in downward direction, and for the downward direction we are taking sign as negative, and the distance that we are taking, that is as h. We are denoting the x as h over here, and V0 is 0. So, the V0 term becomes 0. So, the equation x is equals to V0 t plus half at square or d equals to V0 t plus half at square, that becomes minus h equals to 0 plus half into minus g into t square. So, h equals to half gt square. Now, the third equation, that is the v square minus v0 square equals to 2at, and in some books it is given as v square minus v0 square equals to 2ax. So, again taking a equals to minus g and d equals to minus h, v0 is 0. So, substituting these quantities, we get the equation as v square equals to 2 into minus g into minus h. So, that becomes positive. Therefore, v square is equals to 2gh. Taking square root on both the sides, we get v equals to root 2gh. So, this is about the equation for the object that is falling freely. What is stopping distance for vehicle? When brakes are applied to a moving vehicle, the distance it travels before stopping is called stopping distance. That means that you have might experienced in your daily life practically that when the brakes are applied to the vehicle, then what happens? The vehicle will not stop immediately, but it will stop after covering some distance. So, when you apply the brake, the vehicle will cover some distance and then it will stop. So, after applying the brake and before stopping, the distance that is covered by the vehicle, that distance is called as the stopping distance. Suppose the velocity of moving vehicle is v0, because here in this case we are considering that the object is in motion, the vehicle is in motion, right, and it is moving with particular velocity. So, its initial velocity is v0 and after applying brake, retardation is minus a, because here we are going to stop the vehicle. So, the velocity keeps on decreasing, and we know that if the velocity decreases with time, the velocity change in velocity with time is acceleration, right, but when the velocity increases with time, then it is called as acceleration, and when the velocity decreases with time, it is called as retardation, or it is also called as deceleration. So, after applying the brake, the vehicle will decrease its velocity, right, and so it is decelerated or retarded, and so it is written as minus a. Due to the retardation, we are keeping the minus sign over here. So, for retardation it is minus a, and the distance that is covered after applying the brake and then it is stopping, that particular distance, which is called as stopping distance, is denoted by ts. And we know that after this stopping distance, the vehicle will be stopped, right. So, it is not in motion and thus the velocity will be 0. So, final velocity v equals to 0. Thus, the kinematic equation v square minus v0 square equals to 2ax can be written as, instead of v square, here we are going to write as 0 square, because the final velocity is 0 and initial velocity here we are taking as v0 only. So, it will be minus v0 square equals to 2 into minus a, because here the vehicle is retarding or decelerating. So, instead of a we are writing minus a, and instead of x, that is the distance, here we are denoting by ds, that is the stopping distance. So, the equation becomes minus v0 square equals to minus 2a ds. Minus on both the sides gets cancelled. So, the equation becomes v0 square equals to 2a ds. Taking ds as the subject and taking 2a on the left hand side in the denominator, the equation becomes ds equals to v0 square upon 2a. Here a is the value of retardation and it is constant. Thus, the stopping distance is proportional to square of the initial velocity. As you can see in this equation, ds is equals to v0 square upon 2a. Because the acceleration is constant, the term that it is depending on the term ds, it is depending on the square of the initial velocity. Now let us see what will be the stopping distance if the initial velocity is doubled, right? We know that stopping distance ds is proportional to v0 square, right? And what will be the case if the initial velocity is doubled? So as we know this equation, stopping distance is equal to v0 square upon 2a, and we know that here acceleration, that is the retardation, is constant, right? So the first situation is, that is ds1 equals to v01 square upon 2a, right? This is the general equation, but this is the first circumstances, right? The first situation, that is the stopping distance is equals to v01 square upon 2a. Now the second situation that we are discussing about, that the initial velocity is double, right? So let us say the new velocity is v02, right? And this new velocity is twice that of the initial velocity v01, right? So what will be the new stopping distance? So writing that as the general equation, stopping distance, that is ds2 for the second situation, it is equals to v02 square upon 2a, right? This we have written as the general equation. So here v02, that is what? v02 is twice that of the v01. So instead of v02, we will be writing 2v01 whole square, and denominator remains as it is. So the equation becomes 4 v01 square upon twice a, right? So this stopping distance for the second situation is 4 v01 square upon twice a. Now you can see in this equation, let us denote it as equation 1. So ds1 is equals to 401 square upon 2a, right? So this equation can be written as 4 into, here v01 square upon 2a is nothing but ds1. So ds2 is equal to 4 ds1. Thus, for the new situation, the stopping distance will be 4 times that of the stopping distance of the first situation. That means when we are doubling the initial velocity, then the stopping distance becomes 4 times the stopping distance of the initial case. So stopping distance, which is directly proportional to the square of initial velocity, you can see over here, stopping distance becomes 4 times. Now illustration number 3.4. A ball is thrown vertically upwards with a velocity of 20 meter per second from the top of a multi-story building. The height of the point from where the ball is thrown is 25 meter from the ground. First, you need to find how high will the ball rise, right? That means you have to find the distance. And B, how long will it be before the ball hits the ground? Take g equals to 10 meter per second square. So here AC is the multi-story building and its height is about 25 meter. The first thing that you need to find is how high will the ball rise, right? That means from the point A, the ball is thrown in the upward direction. So it will be covering some distance above the surface of the building and then it will fall down to the ground. So you need to find So in this case we have seen that the ball reaches to the point B, right. So here we need to find the height h, that is the distance between AB, and what will be the time the ball hits the ground. That means the ball starts its motion from point A, it reaches to point B, and after that it comes to point C. That means the path over here for the ball is A, B and C. So the time taken for the ball to cover this path, that you need to find out over here. So the first thing, that is, suppose height of multi-story building is T equals to 25 meter. Here distance we are denoting by T, which is 25 meter. Initial velocity of ball thrown upwards from point A, that is 20 meter per second, right. So initial velocity, that is denoted by V0, and that is already given in the statement, right. So that is 20 meter per second. Acceleration is also given in the data, that is the gravitational acceleration. It is generally 9.8 meter per second square, but sometimes practically we write it as 10 meter per second square. And here, as we discussed in the theory, because it is in downward direction, so for downward direction we are taking the sign as minus. So acceleration is taken as minus g. Minus represents the negative sign which is in the downward direction, which is equals to minus 10 meter per second square. Final velocity at point B, V equals to 0 meter per second, because when the ball rises up, it reaches up to certain point, that is at point B, then after that it stops there at that point B, and then it will come down. So at point B the ball will stop for some time, that is for the negligible time. So the final velocity over there is taken as 0 meter per second. Suppose ball covers height h from E to B. So the height, which is the distance AB, that we need to find out, which is indicated by the symbol h. So from the third equation of motion, so first of all what you need to know, write down the data from the statement. So here what we are getting is d, initial velocity, final velocity and acceleration. So you need to see which terms are given in the data, and according to this data, the kinematic equation that can be fit over here, that is v square minus v0 square equals to twice a h. Here final velocity is taken as 0, so 0 square minus initial velocity, that is 20, so 20 square equals to twice into acceleration is taken as minus 10 into h that we need to find out. So it will be minus 400 equals to minus 20 h. Minus sign on both the sides will be cut, and taking h as subject, so h equals to 400 upon 20, which will be 20 meter. So h equals to 20 meter. That means what? When ball is thrown from point A, it will rise up to 20 meter and then it will fall down. So height of the ball, that is the rise of the ball, is equal to 20 meter. Now let us see how long will it be before the ball hits the ground, that is time taken by the ball to go to point B and then again it come to point C, that is time taken by the ball when it covers the path A to B and then B to C. So first we will be taking T1 as the time taken to rise from A to B, and T2 is the time taken to fall from B to C. So first we will find T1, the distance that it covers, that is from A to B, that is 20 meter. In the equation V equals to V0 plus AT, V equals to 0, that is final velocity over here is equals to 0 and initial velocity is given as 20 meter per second. Acceleration is minus 10 meter per second square. So putting this value in the equation V equals to V0 plus AT, it will be 0 equals to 20 minus 10 T1, that is T equals to T1, T1 equals to 2 second. Now we will be finding the time taken for the path BC, that is when the ball covers the distance BC, which is equals to 20 plus 25. The path over here is, because you can see that the building has the height as 25 meter and AB, the distance that is covered by the ball, that is h equals to 20 meter. So the total path from C to B, that is equals to 45 meter. 25 plus 20, that is 45 meter. So the time taken to cover it is T2. So using the equation S equals to V0 t plus half AT square. Here S is nothing but a distance BC, which is equals to 45 meter. Acceleration is minus 10 meter per second square. Taking initial velocity over here as 0, because now the path is from B to C and we know that at that time the velocity is 0 and then it comes to the point C. So minus 45 into 0 into T2 plus half, A is minus 10 into T2 square. So minus 45 equals to minus 5 T2 square. So T2 square equals to 9 and T2 is equals to 3 second. So we got T1 as 2 second and T2 as 3 second. So the total time taken by the ball for the motion is T, which is equals to T1 plus T2, that is T equals to 2 plus 3 and T is equals to 5 second. Now there is second method to solve this, that is the total time can be determined from the initial and final positions of the ball with respect to the origin. And this also we have discussed earlier. The kinematic equation, right, instead of x equals to V0 t plus half AT square, we can take x minus x0 equals to V0 t plus half AT square, right. Here we are taking y instead of x because the motion of the ball is along the y axis. So y minus y0 equals to V0 t plus half AT square. It can also be written as y equals to y0 plus V0 t plus half AT square. Here y0 is 25 meter, that is the initial position of the ball, right, because the motion of the ball starts from A and the position of A over here is 25 meter. V0 equals to 20 meter per second, that is already given in the statement. Y is equals to 0 meter. Y over here is nothing but the final position of the ball, and we can see that the final position of the ball over here is at point C, which is nothing but the ground, and that ground is taken as the reference point. So it is equals to 0 meter. So the initial position is 25 meter, that is at point A. Final position is 0 meter, that is at point C. Initial velocity is taken as 20 meter per second and acceleration is taken as minus 10 meter per second square. So substituting those values in the equation, we get 0 equals to 25 plus 20t plus half into minus 10t square. So the equation becomes 5t square equals to 25 plus 20t. Taking 25 and 20t on the left hand side, it becomes 5t square minus 20t minus 25 equals to 0. Taking 5 common and taking 5 on the other hand side, that is the right hand side, it becomes t square minus 4t minus 5 equals to 0. Taking the factors of that is 5 into 1, that is 5, and here because the sign is minus 4t, we take minus plus t minus 5t, so that it becomes minus 4t. So taking t square minus 5t plus t minus 5 equals to 0. Here it can be written as t square minus plus t minus phi t minus phi, and for the first two term taking t as common, it will be t plus 1, and for the second term taking phi s minus phi s common, it will be having t plus 1. So the factors for this is t minus phi into t plus 1 equals to 0. So t minus phi equals to 0 or t plus 1 equals to 0. So t equals to 5 second or t equals to minus 1 second, and as we know that the time can never be negative, so it is not possible. So the correct answer over here is t equals to 5 second. So the total time for the flight of the ball is 5 second.